Okay, as I say, Piet Mallekoote is CEO of Currence. Currence run an online payment scheme where people can pay from their bank accounts in the Netherlands, and we take a lot of inspiration from him. So let's hear what he has to say. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here today. I work for Currence, and Currence is the scheme owner of the Dutch payment products, debit card, electronic purse, direct debit, and also the online banking e-payment scheme Ideal. Currence works mainly for banks. We are a non-profit organization, also for other stakeholders than banks. Today, I would like to share with you our experience with the online banking system in the Netherlands. In 2006, the online banking e-payment scheme was launched as a payment scheme, open for every bank, and up to now it has been a major success. And it could serve, I think, as an example for other countries. The success mainly was based on the appreciation by all stakeholders because of its efficiency, security, and being very cost effective. In a few slides, I would like to show you briefly our experiences. Well, the first slide I would like to share with you is the concept of online banking. Traditionally, payments on the internet goes via a wallet or via debit and credit cards. The concept of online banking is that there is an immediate transfer of money from the current account of the consumer to the current account of the merchant. So you do not need a third party. You do not need a wallet or a debit or credit card, which means that you can skip a third part of the chain, which means efficiency. So the concept of OBEP, online banking e-payments, is actually three. You have already online banking. Banks offer online banking in the market. There is a credit transfer also there. And what you add for online banking e-payments is a messaging protocol connecting the web shop to the internet banking environment, to the online banking environment of the bank. So that's actually what OBEP is. So because you leverage on what you already have, it can be offered very cheap in the market. Our experience is that, by the way, Ideal was developed in close cooperation with web merchants, consumer, and banks. And what we got back from our stakeholders is that web merchants were particularly very happy because it is a real payment guarantee. So they get the money and then they send the goods. No chargebacks and reversal. So they can save a lot of money on risk management personnel. It's fully automated and it's very cost effective because the payment method is offered via already existing schemes, systems such as online banking and credit transfer. For consumers, it's quite interesting because if you have online banking, and in the Netherlands all consumers do online bank, they can use it. You don't have to sign up. You have to take some measures to calculate or to create an account. You just can use it if you have online banking. Therefore, it's very simple, familiar, and easy to use. People know internet banking and they can pay for web payments in the internet banking environment. It's highly secure. So no personal authentication data is outside the banking system. So that means up to now we do not have had any fraud with Ideal payments. For banks, it's very stimulating to go into this service because they can offer it cheap. It leverages on investment. They have more volume in their system. They have more credit transfers. So it means that their fixed cost per transaction are going down. There's less intermediation because in the Netherlands banks were quite fear that new parties would come into the market. There's really competition, so they did their own business. They get into this market, and up to now we have so many customers. So I think the banks are very happy that they step into this service because there is competition, but they are really we're really in the top of the payment channel to deliver the service. And also they can improve their relations with customers. So they have, well, if your customers are very happy, consumers as well as merchants, well, you improve your service and you get a good rate of the banks. And also in the Netherlands, merchants and consumers are very critical on banks, but by this service, you are very, very happy. If you look at the, we are a small country, but if you look at the number of ideal transactions, it has been explosive. We started in 2006, it's not seen in this graph, but it's increasing with 30–40% a year. And this year we expect to have just below 100 million transactions, which is huge. We investigated that over 90% of Dutch web merchants use Ideal. More than 40,000 web merchants use Ideal, are in the system. And the web merchants who do not use Ideal do not offer online payment service, they only offer offline payment services. So we have, I think, the maximum reach here. What you also see is that a lot of merchants use Ideal who are not typical e-commerce, so they use it for email links or for payments for utility service such as gas and phone. You just get an email and you can pay with Ideal. More than 80% of the online shoppers have used Ideal, and 55% of the online shoppers indicated that their first preference is to pay with Ideal. And we have in the system 10 major banks and more than 30 payments institutions, and also a lot are very active in other countries than the Netherlands. And still there are some, I think 10 payments institutions are in the process of certification. So there is a major competitiveness between, competition between all those players in the market, which has resulted in very decreasing fees. So what will be the conclusion here is that the introduction of Ideal has substantially stimulated e-commerce in the Netherlands, because it gives a lot of trust of the payment chain in paying for e-commerce. And we have, well, this is actually, normally it's the other way around. You have a transaction, then you do the payment, but here there was a payment and then the transaction started to increase. So we are not there still. We have two challenges. The first is European reach. Ideal can be used in other countries by every bank based on the SEPA credit transfer and European standards. It's open for every bank. And the other option is to cooperate with other schemes. We have done an exercise with EPS in Austria and Gyropay in Germany to see whether we could use the EPC frame for interoperability. We advised EPC to change some rules in the framework. We are discussing with our three how to continue, but this is still an interesting option. The further innovation, we see that e-payments are only the first step in web-based services. Next steps would be Ideal mobile for e-commerce. We have a lot of requests from the web retailers to make Ideal possible on the mobile channel, and we have done this. So now the banks are working on creating Ideal on the mobile channel. With one bank is already in a pilot phase. So this will happen in 2012 with a lot of banks, we think. Ideal can be very easily used for e-mandates for SEPA direct debit. So this is the next step, and also for e-identity services, also on the same standards, which could be a little bit changed, but the same infrastructure can be used for that. What we conclude is that there is an urgent need for banks to accommodate e-payments before other parties take away the business of banks. And if those banks do not act, I think the future will be that the new players will take all new business, and the banks are there with their old-fashioned products. So I would like to invite every bank to take action here. Thank you.